Hi guys, welcome to the channel. I have bought myself a Porsche Cayman S with engine problems. There was a loud ticking noise from the engine when I bought the car. So what I'm hoping to do is pull the engine out and see what the problem is, get it fixed, and hopefully while the engine's out, why not modify it, make it a bit better, a bit more faster and all the rest of it that's to go with it. This video we're going to get the exhaust off it, we're going to hopefully get the gearbox out and get all the other bits and pieces off around the engine ready to get the engine dropped in the next video. So let's hope it goes well.
Yeah, we've got a little puddle of oil on the floor here as well, so don't know whether this is engine oil or gearbox oil. It could be the rear crankshaft oil seal. So yeah, this is the oil filter. You can see it's actually sucked in a bit and it's very goldy metal shards the whole way through it. Not good at all. And yeah, even if you look in the bottom of this, it's just full of metal. So this exhaust is going to get replaced anyway, so I think easiest way to get it off rather than trying to get in it by the bolts in here, I think we'll just try and cut it here and hopefully that'll get it off quicker and easier. Let's give this a go. There we go, one manky exhaust removed, which we'll probably never go back on, so that's for the scrap, but good to get that off. That's progress. Right, so the first thing we need to do is to get all the coolant out of the engine. So this is me taking off all the spring clips, or like Jubilee clips holding the rubber pipes onto the aluminium pipes, which were really tight to get off because the rubber pipes had kind of welded themselves to the aluminium, but we got them off. Then the next thing was to take the anti-roll bar off, which again the bolts were really tight to get off. You see I've had to heat them. I actually broke one off from taking them off, but we got the other three off. Then to get the gearbox out, we need to try and get everything off that's attached to the gearbox. So I'm taking off the drive shafts here. Again, the driver side drive shaft into the hub was absolutely a nightmare to get off. It was seized into the hub, so that took a bit of time to get that out. The passenger side drive shaft came out no problem. Right up to the top side, then we had to take the airbox out to try and get a bit more access to the gear linkage cables. That's what on the left hand side of the engine, so reaching down to try and pop off the cables and then move them out of the way. That gave a bit more access with the airbox out to be able to get in like that. I reckon the best way to get this engine out was to remove the gearbox first, and then remove the engine after that, so that's what we're that's why we're dropping the gearbox out first. So once I had everything removed that I could, I then had to get the gearbox jack to support the gearbox and to allow me to remove the gearbox mountings. There's a gearbox mounting on both sides of the gearbox, one on the driver's side and one on the passenger side. So once they're off, that leaves the gearbox just bolted to the engine, and then it's only a matter of taking off the bolts that bolt the gearbox to the engine, and then pull the gearbox back off the dials. And then when I dropped the gearbox back down a wee bit, the only thing I had left to do was the slave cylinder, the clutch slave cylinder, which it mounts up on the passenger side of the gearbox. So with the gearbox dropped down that bit more, it gave me a bit more access to be able to get up in at the slave cylinder. Kept it all connected, just pulled it out of the gearbox and just left it hanging then. So that was everything disconnected. That was the last thing to take off, and then it's just a matter of lowering the gearbox down, and that was the gearbox out. One gearbox. Yeehaw! I would love to say that that's kind of 50% of us there, but I would say there's a lot more to taking the engine out than there was taking the gearbox out. So. There's not much meat left in that clutch. Yeah, definitely gonna need a new clutch. I don't know if you can see these fuel lines here, so these are your two fuel lines. So to take these apart, there's a couple of wee clips that we take off first. So we get a wee screwdriver and just so that's a wee C-clip. One off that, and then we've got this one's slightly different, but same idea. It's just bigger. So we've got another wee C-clip on that one. Take that one apart, and then we've two 15mm that we just screw, and that should get our fuel line apart here. This just makes it handier than having to take the fuel line off higher up on the engine. Just take it all off here. No, that's not the fuel line. That looks actually like that's the power steering fluid. It's not the fuel line at all.
Well, you need that to come on.
Yeah, it needs to come off anyway. Okay, so that's the fuel lines and the power steering pipes disconnected. This will give us clearance now with the flywheel off so that we can get the engine down past the crossbar. Good. Okay, thanks for watching this video. We got the exhaust off and the gearbox out. Getting the exhaust off was a bit of a disaster. I broke every bolt except two coming out of the headers, but I think these Porsche Caymans and the other Porsches are quite common for header bolts being really tight. Plus, engine's going away to get machined anyway, so what a better time to break a bolt. So the guys at the machine shop can drill them out and rethread them to make it a lot easier for fitting the new headers. Gearbox coming out again, not too bad. Everything screwed. One bolt was a bit tight getting out, but we got it out in the end up. I should say to it, actually, getting the exhaust off, we ended up cutting them, but I think that was just the best way to get them off rather than flapping about trying to get all the bolts to screw, because every bolt on that was just a disaster. The bolts in the exhaust had just rotted away to nothing, and that's just the best way to get it off was just to cut it, so that's what we did. Gearbox out, yep, great. Once we got the gearbox out, we found that leak where it was coming from, so yeah, typical IMS seal behind the gearbox, behind the flywheel leaking, so that's all going to be replaced anyway, but yeah, still nice to see where the oil leak was coming from. So keep an eye for the next video coming out. We're going to be probably taking the engine out in the next one, all being well. Thanks again for watching.